I can't vote for Mr. Corbyn because I'm the leader of the Bus Pass Elvis party, so I've decided to put on this art show and campaign for his re-election instead. My first picture is all we are saying is give Jez a chance. Sadly, I don't think Mr. Murdoch will take much notice despite my fantastic drawing abilities. And now it's the Tin Can Man. I did this when Mr. Cameron won the vote in the Commons to bomb Syria. Mr. Corbyn was taunted by the media for voting against. Lots of Labour MPs voted to bomb Syria as well, including Angela Eagle. Cameron should have put her in his honours list. Dame Angela Eagle has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Mr. Corbyn rebelled against the Iraq War vote too. I did lots of campaigning about the war and put an art show on as well. The star of the show was the Bushburger frying solar-powered electric chair. There's a film about it on the internet somewhere. I've still got the chair and use it to fry my breakfast on while I'm listening to Radio Nottingham. There were lots of cartoons and drawings in the show, and here's some of them. Tony the Lionfox shouting England and St. George W. Koala Blair stuck up an Iraqi gum tree, which he still is. Mona Blyer, defiant then and defiant now. Blair's spin doctor, Alistair McGobles Campbell. What a charming fella he was. Blair's Foreign Secretary, Jack Straw, How I Sold the War. And here's Blair's Defence Minister, Jeff Hoon, the Angel of North Notts. Shove Jeff Hoon under a Trent bus and win a day trip to Skeggy. I did this flyer when I stood for the Church of the Militant Elvis in Nottingham City Council elections. Mr. Hoon managed to survive and now works for a military helicopter company. Well done, Jeff. I also did a musical play about Iraq called Elvis Seen in Baghdad with Mrs. Blair, Don't Nuke the Lovebirds Tony. The plot is as follows. Tony and Cherie have a row at the Queen Mother's funeral. Sherry gets drunk and wanders onto Hyde Park where she bumps into Elvis and falls madly in love with him. She agrees to visit him at his secret hideout near Baghdad and tells Tony. And that's why Blair joined Bush to invade Iraq. Not because Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, but because he wanted to stop Elvis shagging his missus. Put that on the Sun's front page, Mr. Murdoch. Anyway, that's enough of Iraq. We'll head to Libya. Here's a picture of Colonel Gaddafi. And yeah, he's right, it is a mess after Cameron and NATO's intervention. And Syria will be worse if Assad is toppled. I did this painting of the tricolour after France joined the war against the jihadis. I did the Queen's Christmas message last December for a Christmas card. Here's another flyer, Elvis Seen in Syria, Don't Gas the King, promoted by the Elvis Turns Green Party, another of my campaign groups. For full list, see Wikipedia. Anyway, talking about green issues, here's a flyer I did about Scottish wild salmon. Scrap trident because it deters Scottish salmon from having sex. That's why they're fracking dying out. Boris gets a mention too. Even the salmon know about him. He's everywhere these days. I enrolled him for my Stronger In campaign, but it only had limited success. He didn't become Prime Minister after Michael Gove saw my Boris flyer and got the wind up. But he became Foreign Secretary instead and writes rude poetry about arrogant politicians. So do I. Here's an ode to Boris. Whoever read Jerry under the bed? If you sit on it too long, you turn into a pleb. Anyway, he can thank his present position to our tried and friendly new Prime Minister, Theresa May. When Theresa May said in the Commons that she'd press a button, I thought of that hymn she sang in her dad's church and I sang at infant school. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. And I thought, oi, Mrs. May, it's their world too. It's their woods and meadows that will be turned into a radioactive wasteland if you carry out your threat. If the Red Squirrels had the vote, you wouldn't get it. And I'll tell you something else. I've just seen you on television entertaining President Hollande with the Anglo-French national anthem. C'est si bon, politicians love it in France, and in Westminster too, except among Corbyn and crew. Ooh la la. And you know what? You wouldn't win the Eurovision Song Contest either with your lousy French accent. Anyway, let's get back to the Labour leadership election. I've just done a campaign flyer, legalise brothels now. with a 20% discount for Corbyn voters. And guess what? Deputy Leader Tom Watson and Gedling MP Vernon Coker have decided to back Mr Corbyn instead of Owen Smith. Lordy Miss Claudie, Downing Street, here we come. Red Jerry rules, okay, Well, that's it, folks, the end of the show. And I'm off to the pub. And as Yoker would say, sayonara for now.